Time for the only radio show of its kind. Auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, veterans of vintage. It's the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. For the next hour, enjoy great information about buying and selling antiques and collectibles, and some interesting stories. Now, the Donley Auctions Hour.
Welcome to the Donley Auctions Hour. Thank you for joining us. We are here every Saturday at 1 o'clock. Maybe, maybe not. We'll talk more about that. Hi, I'm Susan. I'm here with Randy Donley. We're the owners of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. We're just 60 miles west of Chicago, folks. And we're here today to tell you some interesting stories and to help you determine if you have any valuable items at home that you might want to auction. Because you know what? 2024 is the year to what?
Yes, it is.
Downsize.
Downsize. Sell it off.
Sell it off. That's right. And you're going to have to give us a call at 815-923-7000 after you listen to our radio show so we can give you next steps. Hi, Randy.
Hey, Susan. What's cooking today?
Oh, my gosh. So much stuff is happening. I don't even know where to begin.
Right. But you want to
I have a trivia
lead
question.
off with your trivia? Yeah.
I'll lead off with this because
kind of your signature.
The whole reason I came up with today, I said, I don't have a question yet. I got to come up with something for the radio show. And then we got to talking in the car, and I said, what was it you were saying in your sleep last night about Mrs. Calabash? Who the heck is that? And he goes, well, let me tell you. But here's the question. Who said in a 1950s variety shows on the radio and TV, who said the famous line, "Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are"? That is the trivia question. 1950s variety show. I'll tell you at the end of the
Okay, and George, our producer, he said, give me a hint. And I said, okay, I'll give everybody a hint. Okay, here we go. Here's my hint. Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Oh, my gosh, he sounds just like it. Don't say anything, George. Don't say anything.
You got it, George?
Oh, my gosh. Important stuff going on today. And the reason we're talking about Mrs. Calabash is...
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good news, bad news. Of course, we've been on the air now for over a year.
I know. It's been fun.
And absolutely having so much fun doing this. But we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break from the show and see what happens here. And who knows? We certainly could come back and continue doing the show, but we need to hear from you. Here's the whole thing. If you would like us to continue doing the show right now, like I say, we're going to take a break. This will be our last show for a while. And that's why the Mrs. Calabash routine.
That's how that came up. Yeah, because that's a perfect trivia question.
But at any rate, if you would like us to continue the show, please let us know by contacting us through our website or phone calls.
Yeah, go to DonleyAuctions.com. Give us a call at 815-923-7000. I would love to hear if you guys would like us to continue on. And we'll talk more about that later. And
we are biggest supporters of 560 Radio. You know, we certainly advertise on Sean Thompson and are continuing to do that.
Definitely.
And continue to support 560 in every which way we can. But to find out what we're up to and everything, you're going to now have to definitely sign into our website and see what's new. And
okay.
And continuing on from there.
Every day is new at Donley Auctions, which is also a good reminder. If we have anyone out there who has experience in catalog writing, who can write descriptions on specific collections, we could really use some help. We have such great items, don't we? We're busting at the guts. We're still looking for one item or a large collection. But we also need people to help us describe those items. So give us a call at 815-923-7000.
And that's it. We are busy. So we want to dispel any rumors before they come out. You know, Donley's aren't doing the show anymore. I wonder if what's going on at
Going
Donley's.
out of business?
Well,
no.
You know, here's the biggest problem, even with us doing the show. Sadly, we are too busy. Our business is selling for you, selling your items at top dollar. And that's, we're just, again, to do that, we have to really stay focused, laser focused, and get you the top dollar. There's a lot of work doing that, but there's a lot of work to do a radio show. And if this was our full-time gig, boy, would this be fun. Love to do this a full-time. But, again, it's one of those things. What do? You have to do what you do best and what your passion is. And we have to, again, continue to work for you.
And what we are working on right now from sunup till... I don't know. I think I was at work till about 10 o'clock every night this week. We're working on the annual Spring Classic, our biggest auction of the year so far. 4 days, folks, April 18th through the 21st. Randy, give them a little bit of information of what's happening. Well, in just a few weeks. It's right around the corner.
Yeah, and it is 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in April. My goodness, everything we've been asking you for.
You have door.
Called us with.
We haven't got a tank yet, though. We're still looking for a tank or a cannon.
A tank and a full-size cannon. But we do have an Edison stock ticker. We've got radios. We've got advertising. I mean, there's carousel horses, bumper cars, kiddie rides, jukeboxes, slot machines.
And the beauty of this auction, you're talking about Friday night. It's the best of the best, the top 300 on Friday. And that's because we are partnering with the Chicagoland Coin Op Show in Grays Lake.
It is in Grays Lake. Now, it used to be in St. Charles. Everybody refers to it as the Pheasant Run Show, which is no longer. And but it moved to Grays Lake, and they do a wonderful job with a slot machine and jukebox show. And we're kind of like the nighttime entertainment.
Right. So people go to the show, set up. They have all their booths and vendors. It's open to the public. And then the vendors and the public come out to Donley Auctions in Union on Thursday and Friday before and after their setup to see our auction of the best of the best. And then most of the time that stuff gets packed up and on the road with them while they're there. So it's actually really good timing.
And we're always looking for more of these same items because we repeat this auction. I mean, this is what we're known for. I mean, we've got antique cars, gas pumps, porcelain signs. And then it jumps to cash registers or old Brunswick saloon doors. It's just a fabulous
what I like about
array of merchandise.
Yeah, there's such an eclectic variety of items that appeals to almost every collector. There's something there for everybody.
There really is.
You don't have to just collect coin-op machines. I mean, there's advertising. There's rat fink memorabilia. There's all kinds of stuff. How about the paperweight collection? I mean, just such random items. It's so fun to see what comes through the door in this auction.
It is, and that's why one thing we always do is invite you to come out live, because so many auctions are online only. And yes, we're online. We're on many online websites, but we run live auctions all the time. This is one you don't want to miss. I mean, again, I'm paging through here. An antique boat motor collection. Wow.
Yeah, how many motors do we have?
I mean, there must be 40 of them here.
Okay.
It's unbelievable. I mean,
now's the perfect time to get your boats ready for the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, get your boat motors.
This is all man cave merchandise or she shed. Right?
That's right. I know. Don't discriminate. Yeah. I like some of that stuff, too.
And
especially the
grinders.
Cars. And we'll get to the cars, too, in the next segment. So don't talk about those yet.
Okay.
But a lot of general store, barbershop items, soda fountain items, tobacciana, breweryana. How do you say that? Breweryana. We have over 200 beer signs. Wow. Not only signs on the wall, but the round ones, the hanging ones, mirrors, trays, advertising pieces. Oh, my gosh. A huge collection on Thursday. So I have been working my butt off to get this auction online this week. So if you go to our website at donleyauctions.com, you can see what's coming up in the auction in April.
Right.
Please do, because that was a lot of work. I want to make sure everybody sees it. And then, of course, if you have any questions, there's a way to get on there and email us for any condition reports. If you need a video, if you need more photos, let us know. We love to help you so you have information before you start bidding.
Sure. So, there's just so much to talk about. We've got the rest of the hour to talk about that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Items coming up and so on and so forth. But I just want to continue to remind you, we're not going anywhere. We're not going to be on Saturdays any longer for a while, at least. I mean, we may come back.
Unless the demand is
that's it.
Pretty high. Wouldn't that be awesome?
We need to hear from you if you like the show and want us to continue. That could be arranged.
I'd like to give a shout out to our friends in California who said they listened to our show. Michael, you know who you are. Thanks for listening. We hope to see you soon.
Well, let's say Dr. Mike Kankalian.
Yes. Didn't know Mike, we had listeners from afar, so that is good to hear.
And all of my friends from Morton West High School, the Teska family, and so on.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, don't go anywhere, folks. We have more interesting stories coming up in our next segment. We'll have Shauna Donley on, too, to talk about real estate. But for now, you're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on AM 560, The Answer.
They've been called auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, even veterans of vintage. And they can introduce themselves. Thanks for listening. This is the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan. I am the co-owner of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. Here with my partner, Randy Donley. We are talking about items that you might have in your home, in your garage, your attic, your basement, that you might want to put up for auction this year.
Susan, it's always interesting. People will say to me, well, I don't understand. You keep telling people, oh, they should be buying at auction, and you're telling people all the time, well, wait a minute. Now's the worst time. Prices are going down. You should be selling. It can't be both ways.
Right.
But actually it is. I don't know how to really put this in words, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
Here we go. And that is this. What we found out about collecting antiques over the years is it really did turn out to be a very generational thing. And that is the people that were the true collectors who had 100 of this or 500 of that and had these big collection rooms in their home. They were just a different generation. They've gotten older. They're now 70s, 80s, 90s, or passed away, and so on. And what we're not finding is the younger people collecting, or at least collecting the same things that these old-time collectors did. So as more merchandise keeps coming on the market, and, we have this inordinate supply of merchandise and less demand, the prices do continue to go down. But they go down on the lesser quality items. The best of the best, the most premium items always hold their value, kind of like art, oil paintings, bronzes, things like this that are always going to be in high demand. Mm-hmm. The same is true with general antiques, different collections like phonographs, slot machines, music boxes, all these things. The absolute best will always hold their value.
But what we're also noticing is that it's shifting. The era of items, like the vintage, more of the vintagey stuff from the 50s and 60s is highly collectible now for people my age in their 50s and 60s versus the 70 and 80-year-olds, correct?
Well, and that's exactly right. That's spot on, because the people who are collecting are still collecting a different age or a different kind of, for lack of better words, generation of items.
Yeah, decades.
What we saw at our last toy auction is the really old cast iron toys, and this, again, the more common ones, though, were not doing well, whereas the 1970s toys were doing just fine.
Oh, my gosh, all that stuff went really well.
The collectors have changed in their demand, what they're looking for. So antiques that Grandpa collected is not necessarily what people are looking for today. So yes, it is definitely the time to sell, because if you have these items, because if prices are going to continue to go down on the more common items. You want to cash out, as soon as possible, right?
Yeah.
But the flip side of that is if you're a buyer and you're still a buyer of these items, the beauty is there's so much merchandise out there right now that you've got the luxury of buying at prices that are probably 10-year ago prices. They're coming down, and you can now everything's become affordable again.
Right.
That's it. So it is a time to both buy and sell. And we're telling everybody, make 2024 your year to liquidate. If you've got estates or houses full of stuff.
But what we need you to do, though, is email us some photos, because I get messages all the time. I have a bunch of stuff. Well, we need to know what it is. Send us some photos. Here's our email, consign, CONSIGN, at DonleyAuctions.com. We just need to know where you're located. Give us a general list of what you have and some photos, and then we'll call you and ask all of those other questions and figure out if it's something we can auction for you.
And it's so surprising, Susan, that how easily you can offend people by telling them
some of their stuff is not worthy.
Donley Auctions, or any auction house, any business, cannot be all things to all people.
Right.
And unfortunately, we're in business. We have to make money. So in order for us to continue auctioning, merchandise, we have to have a certain price point of items to sell, because for us, the lower priced items, we just couldn't possibly do enough of them, to make.
There's not enough hours in a day to auction it.
Right. Exactly. So we have to turn so much stuff down. And I just had a person very upset with us. But, here's just a quick story. We went out to a house, and the people originally told us, they wanted us to do the collection. And I probably would have turned it down then, other than the fact that, Shauna was with me, and they said, well, we'll probably have you do the house too.
Okay.
Now, that made sense because there's a certain amount of money, obviously generated when doing the house. Mm-hmm. Well, a relative decided they were going to sell the house themselves without using a realtor. That's okay. That's great. But then it didn't make sense for us to do their collection. Oh, my God. Well, they were so upset. Well, you said. Well, no, actually, the deal changed. Mm-hmm. And it, again, didn't make sense for us to do their collection. It just wasn't high enough. And suddenly, we became the bad guys. And,
and then we have the stories of the people who have just great large collections, but they let people come in and cherry pick and take out the best of that collection. And then what's left? It's hard to sell it all when all the good stuff is gone.
We see that happen time and time again. They think they're doing themselves a favor by selling items without paying the commission.
I know.
Oh, yeah, we got this much for it. We got that much for it.
But that's one person, yeah.
Yeah, well, guess what? You did get $1,000 for that item, but it was probably worth $3 or $4. I'm not going to say that to them.
Right.
But, we're not in the business of just hurting people's feelings, but you do have to be careful. If you have a collection and you're thinking about selling it as one lot or auctioning it, you don't necessarily want people to come in and cherry pick, because once the best items are gone, you're sitting with a bunch of more average items that, as we keep saying, is very hard to sell. And even auction companies cannot take a collection without a certain amount of high-end items to make it financially practical for us to do.
Would it be fair to say that we should be looking for items that kind of around the $500 range, if we want to group them together into $500 lots? Or do you think that is that an average price of what we're looking for?
I would say that's pretty much where you need to be, the 500 on up, of course.
Yeah.
And
Because we get people I have a box of Time Life magazines. I'm sorry, obviously, no, that's not something we can do.
No, and sadly, we're just not the right auction house for that.
Exactly. There are other people who can do all of that, but we're looking for items in the $500 range and up.
Yeah.
Does that help? Okay.
It's got to be a certain price point.
And you know what? You're going to see that on our Friday night auction during the Spring Classic. Friday night, only 300 items in the evening. The auction starts around 5:30, 6 o'clock. 300, best of the best. But all the great stuff we couldn't fit in Friday, we're putting in on Thursday and Saturday. So it's like 3 days of great items for sure.
It really is. It really is. It's going to be a fabulous
One thing I
auction.
do want to mention, too, is 300 plus autographs. Remember, we talked about that last week. Coming up in this auction as well, the annual Spring Classic. 300 autograph guitars, posters. They're all framed.
You name it, it's there. Yeah,
music
this is the entire
military, all kinds of
entire
stuff.
shop,
Political.
The entire shop out of a Las Vegas casino gift shop. It's fabulous.
I know,
and
I might do that. We're trying to decide if we can do that on Saturday or Sunday, but there's just great items. So watch our website at DonleyAuctions.com. That's DONLEY auctions with an S.com, or give us a call at 815-923-7000. We want to help you. This is the year 2024. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan, and here with Randy Donley. We're the owners of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois, and we're talking about items that we're looking for, antiques and vintage items specifically, that you might want to put up for auction. But we want to tell you a little bit about some of the auctions that we have coming up where your items might fit perfectly.
Boy, we've just got some great auctions coming up. There's no question about it. But a couple I want to talk about. Well, going back to April just for a minute, I want to remind everybody that we've got all this great merchandise from the Volo Vault.
Oh, yes.
Volo Museum in Volo, Illinois, the big auto museum. They've opened what they call their vault. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. Stuff that has been stored away, taken off display, and just kind of been put in storage for years and years. We're going to be selling all this, so you can go to our website. We're selling it in April during the Classic. And
the other item that I really like that we haven't mentioned is that movie set. It's a complete movie set that we broke down into smaller lots.
Absolutely. This is a movie set that came to us. It was shipped to us from California. And this movie set is all 1950s. It's all pink.
I love it. It's pink and like a light green, like a teal, not teal, seafoam green.
Everybody here now. This is a kitchen, kind of a living room, den,
mannequins, and
a
furnishings,
bathroom,
appliances,
all everything. You name it, all the wall hangings, everything. And everybody at Donley's has been referring to it as the Barbie set.
The Barbie set, because everything's pink.
Because everything is pink.
But I'm telling you, some of those clocks on the wall, those aren't pink. But the clocks and the lamps and the dishes, oh my gosh, the appliances, the mannequins. It's just a great set of items that are coming up on Saturday.
But we're going to be breaking it down and selling it piece by piece.
By piece.
We are not selling it as a whole set. So if you like 1950s vintage or early 60s.
Even the couch is cool.
Oh, my goodness. The kidney bean table. I mean, just.
The kitchen set, everything.
Wow.
So, again,
Really
another thing to look for in our upcoming April Spring Classic. Go to DonleyAuctions.com to see the catalog. One thing I just want to give a shout out real quick. We're going to be holding a barn auction Sunday, April 28th. So mark your calendars for that. It is on Millstream Road in Marengo. A huge barn auction, folks. Come on out, rain or shine.
But one of my favorite auctions coming up, and we don't have the date yet. We'll be putting it on the website. So go to our website, DonleyAuctions.com. The Mancuso auction of Ferrari advertising. This auction is absolutely the best in old advertising of Ferrari items and Aston Martin and Maserati. I mean, absolutely incredible. I keep using those same words, but geez, it is. Now, we're going to have cars there, too. Of course. Of course, at the Mancuso Motors. But the best of the best, listen to this one. We are going to be selling Richard Petty's race car. The earliest race car you could ever get from Richard Petty. This is the second car he owned. The very first car he ever built is gone. It's destroyed, taken apart. But his second car, his 1960 Plymouth, which he won 4 races. 4 races he won with this car. This car has been restored, and it is going to be for sale. The famous blue number 43 Plymouth. My gosh. It's going to be for sale at the Mancuso auction. Now, in
what city is that in?
Lake Forest. It's going to be at Mancuso's. Now, this is going to be an invitation only. So if you want to get into this auction, you're going to have to come there or get a hold of us.
Get a hold of us first, and we'll get you on the list.
To get tickets to get in to this auction if you want to be there live. Otherwise, it's all going to be online.
Of course.
But if you really want to see these items and be, in the mix in this fabulous evening auction.
And I believe we're going to be doing that over the summer, sometime in the summer, correct?
Well, it looks like July or August.
Okay,
yeah. But
wonderful.
But we're going to be announcing the date next week, and of course, we won't be on the air next week. So you've got to go to our website.
DonleyAuctions.com. Now, we always say we hold one auction a month, but we are so busy with such great items flooding in that we've been doing 1 to 2, maybe 3 auctions a month. And I do want to mention this one real quick before our segment is over. Vintage stereo and audio, Saturday, May 11th. Sunday is Mother's Day, but Saturday is the auction at 9 a.m. The items are located in Lake Geneva, but we're going to hold the auction live at our location in Union, Illinois. Everything from amps, speakers, to CD players and DVD player 8 tracks. Oh my gosh, Kenwood, Magnavons.
But viewing will be in Lake Geneva. If you want to see the items,
you got to see and touch and feel, then you got to come out to Lake Geneva. But if you want to bid live with us, you have to come to Union. Or you can always place an absentee bid, which is as if you were just telling us what your max bid is going to be, and we'll bid on your behalf up to that amount. You can always place a phone bid.
And a reminder, you haven't heard the last of us, folks. We're going to stay on 560 Radio. We're not going anywhere. We're just postponing this show for a while, and we want to hear from you. If you want us to continue this show, we need to hear from you either through our website or phone calls.
That's right. So don't go anywhere. Join us after the break. We have Shauna Donley with a real estate update. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on AM 560, The Answer.
And now, more of the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour. Thank you for sticking with us during that break. I'm Susan. I'm co-owner of Donley Auctions, here with my loving partner, Randy Donley. And we have Shauna Donley on the phone today to give us an update on the Donley Group, our real estate division. But real quick, we just want to remind everyone that today is our last radio show. So we want to get as much information from Shauna as we can. But everything will always be on our website at DonleyAuctions.com, so you can stay in touch with us. Hi, Shauna. Welcome to the show. How is everything going in the market of real estate today?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. Oh, boy, it has been a crazy past few weeks. I think it's been a couple of weeks since I've been on the show because we are just selling like crazy, both listings and with our buyers. The market is super hot for sellers right now.
Wow. That's good news. That's good news. Well, and that's probably very good news, too, for us at the Wild West Town because,
Yeah, give us an update on what's happening with the property there.
Well, I wanted to point out to folks that this is very important. I think that we need to keep hammering in. We have a sign on the Wild West Town for sale. It has nothing to do with Donley Auctions.
Right, so people know that the Donley Auctions company is on the Wild West Town property.
Right, but we're not closing or selling
Donley Auctions,
the auction company. In fact, we're looking for bigger quarters. We need more space. Mm-hmm. And but People have been looking at the Wild West Town for an event center. We just had somebody come out and we're talking about a concert venue. That's very interesting. It's a 24-acre site, 40,000 square foot of commercial buildings, all zoned B3. And that's really what we were running all those years, is an event center.
Right.
Even though it was called the Wild West Town, we had a restaurant, a banquet hall, held all kinds of big corporate events
fundraisers
on this property.
Yeah, all kinds
so,
of stuff.
Shauna, what do you have to add to that?
Well, just that we would like everybody to know that they can contact us about the Wild West Town. Randy, as you mentioned, the commercial zoning is so valuable in McHenry County. It's really a wonderful property where people can do almost anything they'd like with it.
Yep, it sure is. Sure is.
And to get more information on that, go to DonleyAuctions.com to the Donley Group tab on our website, and all of the statistics and info is there, right, Shauna?
Absolutely, and you can contact me directly. My cell phone number is right on there.
And tell everybody out there again, because they're not going to hear from us on this show for a while. Who and where you're with? Who have you landed with?
Absolutely. So as you both know, I am Shauna Donley, and I run the Donley Group, and we are a group of real estate brokers in northern Illinois, Chicago, the suburbs, and Wisconsin, and we work with At Properties Christie's International. We've been in real estate for about 12 years, and the team is always available for you. One thing that I always like to tell you is we basically have a satisfaction guaranteed promise because we are so detail-oriented, and we are with buyers and sellers every single step of the way for the whole process.
Shauna, can you give our listeners some benefits of using a realtor? Why should they use a realtor?
Well, I'm glad that you asked, because with this market being so hot, a property goes on the market and sellers are essentially expecting multiple offers right now the first week because buyers are so worried about interest rates going down because prices will go up. So that's good for both buyers and sellers. But the question is always, well, then why use a realtor? I should just do this by owner. Well, the reason to do that is to work with a realtor, to work with our team specifically, is that we will help you with everything. We will help you get your house ready to show. We will let you know if you should make improvements versus not. Not everything is a great return on investment. So we'll help you decide what is the best thing to do before showings. We'll work with you to pay for photos, floor plans. We'll do all the advertising. You get pre-market exposure. Then once you're on the market, we schedule and attend all of the showings for the sellers. So we manage all of that. Your house is never left unattended. And then we will also screen out buyers who aren't actually serious. We get a lot of looky-loos in this market, a lot of people who aren't pre-approved for necessarily the value of the house. So we work with the other buyers' agents. We work with their lenders to make sure that we're not letting just, random people, lookers, come through to your house. Once you get on the market and you're getting these multiple offers, we help you pick the best offer to suit your needs because it's not always about the best price. The terms matter too. And I think a lot of sellers forget that. We work about closing dates, and you can negotiate everything. You can negotiate as is, the closing dates, the amount of financing, and those things are all very important for a seller.
Even yourself, you just bought a house, Shauna, and I was so happy. I'm not saying this, but I'm so happy to see you getting out of the city.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for that.
I closed last week, yes. And, that was another thing. I was my own buyer in multiple offers, and I had to go above and beyond. And that's something else that, agents can help educate their buyers on, too, because buyers think, well, I'll go in at asking. Well, that's not necessarily always going to get the house for you. In fact, I'm working with a buyer right now. We're out in the northwest suburbs all the time, and we've written 6 offers all over asking. We're doing appraisal gap addendums, and call me if you don't know what that is. I'm happy to explain it. Buying as is, and we haven't gotten a single one. Wow. So it's a very, very competitive market out there.
Well, Shauna, congratulations on the new home, and we're glad you're moving closer to the family. Any last words? We got just a few seconds left.
Yes, absolutely. I know you love your random facts and statistics, so I've got a fun one for you.
Okay.
Right now, 8% of buyers are single men, while 19% of buyers are single women.
Hey!
Wow.
I know. Let's
Isn't
hear
that
it for
great?
the girls.
And I'd like to point out that I am so happy that we are with at Properties and Christie's. It's just a fabulous organization to be associated with.
That's right. Thank you, Shauna. More information on our website at donleyauctions.com. That's DONLEY, auctions with an S.com. Check the Donley Group tab. All of Shauna's information and info about the Wild West town is on there. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour. Don't go anywhere.
The Donley Auctions Hour continues now on AM 560. The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour talking about items you might have at home that might be of value that you could put up for auction this year. And we also want to let you know about some upcoming auctions that we have on our schedule so that you can kind of time it ahead of time. You have to plan ahead for our auctions because we really need merchandise at least a month, 4 to 6 weeks before the auction so we can promote it, describe it, photograph it, get it ready for you to sell. So keep that in mind when we start spewing out all of these dates and things, because we also have a fantastic auction coming up in May, which it's not too soon to consign now. In May 18th and 19th, we have firearms and ammunition and a whole day dedicated to military relics. And we are still taking consignments for any of those items. So give us a call at 815-923-7000.
And Susan, you know, I keep reaching out all the time to anybody out there who has, and I kid you not, folks, I'm looking for tanks, military tanks, vehicles, and full-size cannons. Well, any size cannons.
Well, you know,
really.
it just came in the other day, too. 2 flight jackets.
Flight jackets.
We keep talking about those, and I love them.
Always looking for
fantastic.
military, especially groupings. If you have a family member who was in the military and you've got photo albums and uniforms and everything, a grouping
Helmets,
is worth much more than the items individually.
And why is that? Because of the provenance.
Provenance.
Okay.
And just a reminder to any lawyers, estate planners, executors out there, we do an awful lot of work with lawyers and everybody who needs to help get rid of estates. You know, sometimes these estates are just huge with collections, and we do cars,
we're here to help,
motorcycles, Petroliana. We do it all.
If we can't, we'll definitely give you some direction on what to do next. But you got to give us a call at 815-923-7000 to get the ball rolling. But as we had mentioned earlier, this is our last show today. We're going to take a break from the radio for a little while. But I wanted to let everybody know that we're going to be starting a video podcast on our website where you can actually still hear all of our interesting stories. We have a lot of those. And you'll even get to see some of the items that we keep talking about on the show. Stay tuned for that. That'll be a new adventure for us as well.
And see us.
And you get to see us if you don't know what we look like already, right? I know, I'm sad.
Yeah, it's sad. I every week I say, an hour's not enough. Where did the time go and everything? Where did the last year plus go? Like I say, we're at the end of our contract right now, so we're going to take a break for a while, and so, we want to see what the response is.
But I got to give the answer to the trivia question,
Please
right?
do.
Okay,
Hurry
do you
up.
remember what the question was? Okay, what 1950s variety show, the TV and radio, where he said, go ahead, Randy, what did he say?
Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
That's right. 1941, I believe it's 41, Jimmy Durante. His TV show where he signed off on his radio program with that, and he added wherever you are after the first year. But he never said what it was about. So what I have found on the internet is that he referred to his wife, Jean Olsen, as Mrs. Calabash because that was the name of a Chicago suburb that they both liked.
Wow.
And also, did you know Jimmy Durante was in World War II?
In
the Navy. Yes, he was.
Sure.
So with that in mind, folks, this is our last show. We wanted to just kind of sign off with something a little bit interesting and definitely direct you to our website at donleyauctions.com. We're here to help you. Don't forget about us. Call us at 815-923-7000. For now, I'm Susan.
And I'm Randy Donley. And we'll see you at the auctions.
Thanks for listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. Check out all the latest information on upcoming auctions and collectibles at DonleyAuctions.com. And while you're there, you can contact someone about buying or selling your collectibles or estates. That's DonleyAuctions.com.